Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 2024 World Chess Championship match between the champion, Ding Liren from China, and the challenger, Gukesh D from India. This is game number 10 out of 14 possible games. The winner gets the 7.5 points. But if they tie the match, they play a tiebreak. Like I said, it's game 10. Maybe I said that. I don't remember. It's very early in the morning, so my short-term memory has not yet activated. The match is tied 4.5 to 4.5. The story of the match has been Gukesh putting some pressure with the white pieces, Ding happy to take a draw with the white or black pieces, playing relatively solid, seemingly with the strategy to take the match the distance, as they say in boxing or mixed martial arts. Gukesh has had a few chances to take the lead after losing early in the match, but he hasn't been able to break through. This is game number 10. And this is very quickly becoming the strangest World Championship match I've ever seen. They've played 9 games against each other. This is Ding's 5th game with the white pieces. Gukesh started the match with the white pieces. So they had a day of rest. And now Ding is able to show up rested and to play an opening. So what does he do? He plays the London system again. Ding played the London earlier in the match. Not only did he play the London earlier in the match, he played the London in the last World Championship match that he played as well. And Magnus Carlsen himself has said, jokingly, that Ding is unprepared, or at least underprepared for this match than normal. But he also has said that Ding comes specially prepared to openings with specific ideas. And today, it seems like the idea was as follows. You'll notice that Gukesh against the London is playing the most principled way. If you're watching this, you're a beginner, intermediate, or an advanced player. Notice how Black's knight is behind the c-pawn. The d and the c-pawns walk into the center together, and the e-pawn supports them. You can also develop your bishop and then push the pawn that leads to certain slightly different positions. But that's a great way to play against the London. Last time, Ding played c3. Then he put the bishop on b5. That was the idea. This time, he plays bishop to e2. So this is the idea that he goes for. And the point of bishop e2 is to provoke Black into doing something like a queen b6. Now White can play b3 and maybe c4, but there's also lines where White can sacrifice the pawn on b2, and it's untouchable as the knight goes to b5 with devastating intentions. White can play a3, and the queen is stuck. Gukesh doesn't fall for any of that, and instead plays bishop d6. And from Gukesh's preparation, this is absolutely not the most popular move. So clearly Gukesh has done his homework in the London system. He again shows up very, very well prepared. Ding now takes the pawn on c5. And the argument here is, well, Black spent time moving the bishop. Now Black has to move the bishop again. And this is poor from Black. And I am developing a bishop to e2. And Black is spending an extra time moving the bishop 2 times. And now I can play a move like c4. This is clearly Ding's opening idea. Ding's opening idea is to slide this bishop very accurately to the e2 square. Most of you who play the London put the bishop more actively on the d3 square, right? And now he plays like this. When I say that this is the most microscopic of ideas, this is one of the most, delicate, fine, this is like a level 10 technique in the kitchen to make something taste a little bit better. Like, at the high level, chess is so granular. And honestly, it's very difficult to even explain the point of this. But like I already tried. The bishop is here. And White kind of made Black lose a little bit of time. White's going to play kind of like queen c2, maybe knight d2, maybe here. Like if dc4, White can slide the queen here, avoid a queen trade, maybe take with the c4 pawn, just like the slightest of imbalances, saying that this bishop can't develop. This is the level that we're at. We're at that super granular grandmaster level. And the players travel out of the opening to this position. And now Gukesh spends 25 minutes on his next move. Now, if you just look at the position, it was a bit of a success. Ding reached a position where both sides traded their d and c pawns, And if you look, white is just better. White's got 4 pieces out, and black has 3. But the position smells. The position smells like a position that, if played improperly or if played way too delicately, will turn into a draw. Just look at it. There's a queen trade offer on move 9. The pawn structure is symmetrical. It's 2 and 4, just like Battleship. Now, in this position, Gukesh plays a very, very accurate and very precise move. One way that Gukesh can play is to trade the queen and simply develop and act like it doesn't really matter that black has a lead, is behind in development. He's completely fine. But Gukesh is a very, very, very concrete player. He plays knight to h5, which has been played before in one game ever between Hrant Melkumyan and Ivan Šarić in 2016 in Germany. I'm not going to quiz you on that, but now you can tell your friends about Hrant Melkumyan and Ivan Šarić. Now you know 2 grandmasters, one from Armenia and one from Croatia. So the point of knight h5 is basically the bishop is kind of standing in the open. Black wants to take the bishop. Now, what's funny about this position is the most aggressive move by white is to give up the bishop, to just leave it there. After this, you trade the queen, you take this bishop, this knight has to move, and you keep applying pressure. Gukesh spends 25 minutes, but it wouldn't be a world championship match between Ding and Gukesh if Ding now did not give back the entire time advantage by also spending 25 minutes, which is totally fine, but it's pretty funny that it literally happens in every single game. He plays bishop g5, totally reasonable move. Point of bishop g5 is to get that bishop out of the way of getting taken and to ask the queen what it's doing. Gukesh now plays principled, backs this bishop up, and obviously, like I said, the game is sort of smelling already like a draw. Pieces are being offered for an exchange. But a nice move from Ding, knight to e4. Clasping together, trying to defend this bishop. If you take, I take with this knight. Now if you take my queen, I take like this, and when you move your knight back, well, I have a very pleasant position because I go here, 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 and something like rook c1. This is a much better position for white. Why? Black can't develop, and if black tries to make even more trades, then after it takes and takes, I put the knight on d6, and I have a crushing position. It's really hard for black to make a move here. Maybe not even knight d6, maybe something like this, and black just can't get either piece into the game. a6, maybe even bishop e8, rook d1. So it's a very, very pleasant position. But as always, Gukesh wasn't born yesterday, and he plays knight f6. And that game between Melkumyan and Šarić proceeded with bishop takes f6, and queen c2. So in that game, he gave up the bishop for the knight to create imbalance, and then he went here. And his argument was black is multiple moves away from getting fully settled. I'm going to go rook d1, rook c1, and I'm going to have some pressure. And if the queen moves over here, I have ideas to put my knight on g5, and I also have ideas to open up the king. So bishop e4 was kind of definitely the move, like to consider. Bishop f6, not bishop e4. Bishop f6 was definitely the move to consider. And just in general, a move like queen c2, after knight e4, take queen e4, you know, white's it's a pleasant position, no questions asked. Ding trades with the knight, though. And when you take with the knight, as shocking as this is on move 13 of this game, it's basically a draw offer. Because in this version, you were trading one piece. And if black had taken, and tried to create like this type of imbalance, yeah, you trade the queens, but you still put some pressure, like a tiny bit. But when you take the other way, you don't create any imbalance. In pieces, there's no knight for bishop, none of that. We have bishop f6, we have queen takes, rook takes, bishop takes, pawn takes. I couldn't believe my eyes. But this has sort of been the story of the match. Ding tries to play like a sort of very risk-free idea. And sometimes he even gets it into the 20th move. We've seen this, the previous London. And then he just is happy with the draw. Magnus himself when we record together is like, yeah, he's just happy with the draw anytime. And, now Gukesh is able to bring his bishop into the game. And the only imbalance here is the pawn structure. Black's got a bad pawn structure compared to white. But if there's no real way to exploit that, like if white doesn't have a dark squared bishop, it's meaningless. So rook d8, rook d8. White brings his king. He brings his king. White plays a3. Gukesh plays f5. And the point is he's going to put the king on f6 where this is covered. Pawn might go to h6 to stop knight g5. Ding brings his king. King brings the bishop back. g3. Rook c8. Trade. Knight d2. Now, look, as an amateur, you can play a position like this out against your friend. And you can see, like, if somebody wins. Because if somebody wins, you guys have a problem. Nobody really should be winning here. If anybody's winning, it should be white. And I'll tell you why. Because I think, like, most amateurs will accidentally leave their pawn on h5 and it will get taken or something like that. But now we're in a bishop endgame. And boys make a bunch of moves. Notice how Gukesh just puts all his pawns like this. Now the bishop cannot sneak in and get to either of them. And they shuffle their pieces like this. And the game ends in a draw. This is the shortest recap of the World Chess Championship so far. And to be honest with you, I'm extremely confused. I am really, really, really confused. So there's a couple of things going on in my mind. Number one, Ding didn't do anything different in this game than he's done in the rest of the match or anytime he takes a draw. He plays an opening idea where he tries to basically put a bit of pressure. And if the opening is done, that's it. He is absolutely more than happy to go home and be like, I'm going to try again tomorrow or whatever. But it really felt like the momentum was swinging in Ding's favor because he just held off 2 really bad games and had a great game with Black. So he survived his worst stretch of the match. Gukesh only has 2 games remaining with white, and now Ding puts no pressure at all with the white pieces. So now Gukesh gets the white game back. So that wasn't out of the ordinary. But what makes this game so strange, and just this match so strange, is they gave them a rule before the match. It was the first time ever they did this. They said the winner of every game gets $200,000 for themselves from the prize fund, and the rest of the money is split evenly. You would think that was supposed to incentivize winning. Nope. Since game 3, it has incentivized only draws. So the prize fund is just being split evenly, except they each won 1 game. So that hasn't helped. And now there are 4 games left, and the match is tied 5-5. And what it seems like is that it is Ding's strategy that he is putting his feet into the ground and saying, you can't beat me, Gukesh. And if Gukesh is unable to beat him or gets impatient and lashes out, it looks like Ding is going to punish him. But even that has not really been the strategy because there have been moments where Ding is better and even winning in games that are complicated. And then he goes to the press conference and he says, I didn't know I was winning. So what is going on? What is happening? Because if the strategy is to make your opponent overextend and get into a very provocative game, which is what Ding successfully actually managed to do, but then he went to the press conference and he said, I didn't even realize I was winning at any point. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what the strategy is. There are 4 games left. What happens if Gukesh wins a game? Then Ding basically ran out of time himself. So the pressure's on. There are 4 games left in this World Championship for somebody to do something. Otherwise, we have a rapid tiebreak. I don't know. It's the strangest World Championship I've ever observed. Like, some of these games don't even get off the ground. Anyway, it's really early here. Game ended before 7 in the morning. I'm going to get some rest. If you ever bought a course on Chessly, an email went out to all course owners to give you an update about Chessly 2.0. Check your inbox. It's only been opened like maybe by 40% of you. So if you ever bought a course, check your Chessly email. Any questions, contact support. So excited for Chessly 2.0, which will come out in a week. Get out of here.